So today we are going to discuss about Keynesian cross model, money market, and ISLM models. Okay. I do believe in your earlier levels, so level 5, you have studied this module, this topic, okay? And you are quite familiar how ISLM model, the shifts its behavior. So anyway, now we are going to talk some other, maybe we'll find some other extra information from today's lecture. So if you are going to discuss country's economy in the long run, and while studying, so model, which is that function as capital, it depends the capital and labor, right? So each country they have capital and labor available. All right? If that capital and labor is used in the most optimal way, okay, we expect the economy to grow in this steady state income level. All right? In steady state income level. So we expect the economy to grow in that line, within that line. But of course, the economy is not always stable. Sometimes it experiences booms and recession. Yes? So which we call as business cycle, right? So it is the case. That business cycle, experiencing business cycle is not a big issue, okay? Which economy with the intervention of the government as with the monetary policy or fiscal policy, it can be easily solved, right? By contractionary policies in the time of boom and expansionary policies in the time of recession. So it was Keynes, right? He suggested if the economy is going to experience boom, now government should experience, the practice contractionary policy and grow budget, government's budget. In the case of recession, the government should experience, it should make that implement expansionary policy and experience budget deficit. Okay. So this is business cycle. And based on that capital and labor available. Okay? So this business cycle is experienced. And if the economy is always like this one, then we call this steady state income level as potential limit income 2. Potential income 2. But if you consider the case of Britain, UK, this country experienced 2 very big shocks, yes, in 20th century. The first one is due to World War I, and the second one is due to World War II. So, if you look at this graph, now we have this another long run growth potential income level. Okay. So which means that with the incidents like war, where both production functions, okay, factors, capital, labor are destroyed, right? Because capital will be destroyed due to bombing and some other, incidents during the war, and labor is going to be reduced due to killings, right? So which means that at this point, when that war happened, both capital and labor was destroyed. So which means that with that available less capital and less labor, economy is not able to fluctuate within this steady state income level. Because now if that capital is also, it's not available. It's not in its previous level. Okay? Good. So therefore, when the economy reaches this level, with less capital and less labor, then long run growth path is going to be different. So which means that at this level, with that available now, the economy is going to experience growth within this line. Okay? Either So in this one now we call another business cycle within new potential curve. Right? And we already discussed the growth path, right? Countries with low capital, they tend to grow faster, right? Grow faster. So you can see that now with less capital, now the growth rate is high. Okay, good. Once economy after the World War II, okay, and some wrong policies implemented in UK, okay, which led the economy to some kind of recession, which we discussed partially last week. And plus, with Great Depression, global financial crisis, in 1929, the economy of UK was also hit badly. But still they started recovering once the economy almost reached that initial steady state income level, the natural level. Then this country again experienced second war. Again, with all of those bombings from German side and killings that happened during the war. So again, the capital and labor was destroyed. And after the same path has been experienced. And again, you can see that with lower capital, growth rate was higher. Growth rate was higher. Okay. So with the business cycle, when the economy experiences recession, there is definitely one ultimate lowest point which we call as trough. Yes? Once the economy reaches this point, so then economy now is going to recover again. Recovering of the economy, if it's going to lead even further, who intervenes? It's government, right? With monetary and fiscal policy in order to slow down that recession and in order to give boost to the economy in order to recover. On the other side, when the economy is booming, right? Booming, it's going to reach that peak moment. So in the business cycle, which is very important, is this potential income level. Okay? Potential income level. If it's going to be too high with available resources, factors of production. So now this is, you do not call it a very healthy growth. Anyway, it will go down because it's too much optimism of consumption, for example. And regarding recession too, the economy experiences that recession because aggregate demand goes down because people are not consuming as usual. This level tells us that people are consuming in normal way. Here they are consuming more than normal, and here they are consuming less than normal. Both cases are not suffering. Why? Not good too much because usually when the economy reaches that boom, it also leads to recession. This decline in the economy leads to recession. It continues going down. Good. If you consider circular flow, well, we know that total income is equal to total expenditure, right? Okay, circular flow. Given the income, households having income, okay, there is leakage once income is available, which means that from income is government, all households, they pay tax, yes? What we have left is disposable income. Do we consume all of our disposable income? The answer is no, right? Because just part of our income is saved, which is another leakage. And what we have left is consumption. And we know once we consume both goods, foreign-made goods and domestically made goods. If you are consuming foreign-made goods or import goods, which it does not contribute to the economy, right? Okay. So this is the last one. How does it circle? If we are importing, that it means we are also exporting something, right? So which means that increases our total expenditure. And then savings are invested, right? Savings are invested. If you look at this gas, which is lower in here, not all savings are invested, okay? And of course, there is government expenditure. So, which will bring us to total income and total expenditure to be same. Okay? So therefore, when we graph total expenditure with income, we consider this actual income as 45-degree line. Okay? Because it's the same. What about in the case of boycott? In the case of boycott, we know, for example, in Uzbekistan, right? What's our main export good agriculture? It's cotton, right? A few years ago, because of child labor use in our cotton fields, right? All of those our buyers, Western countries, they just stop buying. In other words, boycott our cotton, right? Once we removed it, then they started again buying. Okay. Well, in other words, for example, if boycott is announced for some country, right? At that time, even though now we are not exporting, at that, in the short run, still, those companies, they produce. Okay, they produce. But that production leads to inventory accumulation, right? So once the inventory is accumulated, then economy is going to experience recession, right? Because they start reducing production, cutting production. So which will lead to that recession. Lead to that recession. Okay. So regarding aggregate expenditure, okay, and our income, we know there is always exogenous investment, which is usually given. On average, the investment level is this much. And government, and net export. And we have consumption, which is equal to marginal propensity to consume times output, right? Output, okay. Aggregate output, let's write down here. Aggregate expenditure. So now it's equal to consumption, investment, government spending, and then export. So now, if we plot that aggregate expenditure curve with actual income expenditure, then we will get this Keynesian cross, yes? And we know this is the equilibrium point in the economy. If income level is higher than equilibrium point, then we know at this moment companies and firms are producing more than demanded, right? If it's more demanded, so it means that they will be building inventories. And which means they are going to cut down their production, and again, the economy is going to go back to its equilibrium point. If it's less than this equilibrium point, where demand is higher than production, so those producers who know that there is higher income from investing, okay, so they will be producing more. As a result, the economy is going to reach its steady state level. Okay? Steady state level. All right. So, Lord, here is the question: whether this equilibrium point, okay? Equilibrium point is potential level. Alright? Where there is in potential level. So Lord, which means if it's going to be the business cycle, this equilibrium point can be in any point, okay? So these are all equilibrium points based on the situation in the economy. What does this Keynesian approach gives us, okay? It explains us what kind of policies and how government should react. For example, if the economy is somewhere here or somewhere here, which we know that the potential level is income is less than by this much, right? Income should be actually this much, income. But it's now in this level. It should be increased by this much because it's natural level. So therefore, government should implement expansionary policy in order to reach to this level, which is the normal level. And by that one, this change represents some government's policies. Okay. And government usually, to implement that fiscal policy, it relies on what? Multiplier. Okay? Multiplier. Where aggregate expenditure curve, that function is given for us. In other words, we can write that output is equal to consumption plus investment plus government spending plus net export, yes. Where consumption itself is equal to marginal propensity to consume times output, right? So if we take it to this side, then it's going to give us 1 minus marginal propensity to consume times y equal to investment plus government spending plus net export. In other words, it's going to give us that multiplier, yes? So our income is going to be equal to 1 over 1 minus c, I plus g plus n x. Government relies on this multiplier. The accuracy of multiplier is therefore very important. Okay? So now, in order to shift this aggregate expenditure curve, okay? So there must be some change done in the economy. Okay? So the higher the marginal propensity to consume, the higher the multiplier effect. Okay? Let's suppose the economy is at this point, which is less than that potential level. That potential level. And now you can see that marginal propensity to the multiplier effect. So once government is increasing its expenditure, right, which is going to be income of households, yes? Which means that this is that total income. People having that income in their hands, they are going to consume. Maybe it can be 60% or 70% or 90%, whatever. So based on their consumption, then once they consume, then it's going to be income of other groups in the economy. They're gaining. And these people, they are going to consume that 60 or 70%, which is going to be again income of another group. So therefore, that type of, that circulation of income based on the multiplier effect is going to increase income. So now you can see the government increased, the government spending by this much, but multiplier effect is much greater. Okay? Much greater. Government relies on this one. Relies on this one. And another thing here. So now we considered, we did not consider disposable income. Right? Disposable. So now we can further write it down, this aggregate expenditure equation in different way, where consumption it depends on what? Disposable income. Yes? And that where income minus tax, where tax itself is equal to tax rate times output, right? This much tax is generated from our total income. And you may consider as input, okay, which this tax is going to affect on our multiplier effect. Higher the tax rate, I will show you, the lower the multiplier. The lower the multiplier. If we consider input, which is also somehow negative, right, which depends on what? If we invert this much of our income, right? This much. Marginal propensity to invert. So now, if we plug everything in our equation in here, let me write it down. So which is going to give us our income is equal to marginal propensity to consume times income minus tax times output, okay, plus investment plus government spending plus export plus marginal propensity to consume times 1, yes? Because export minus import gives us net export. Okay. So, or I can write it as, if I take all in here, y minus c times 1 minus t times 1, yeah? Plus m y equal to investment plus government spending plus export. Or it gives us 1 minus c, 1 minus t plus m, which is multiplied y equal to I plus g plus x. In other words, our multiplier in this case is equal to 1 over 1 minus marginal propensity to consume, 1 minus tax rate plus marginal propensity import, government spending plus tax. Right? So that curve, okay, the effect of multiplier now depends not only on consumption itself, but it also depends on tax rate. If tax is equal to 0 and import is equal to 0, the multiplier will be the greatest. In the previous case, let's suppose in our listings, marginal propensity to consume is 0.9, 90%. Which means that the multiplier in this equation is going to give us 1 over 1 minus 0.9, which is equal to 10. Unit change in government spending will affect 10 times high. It will have 10 times high effect. Okay? This 1 will become 10 times greater. 10 times greater. What about in this case? Let's suppose, again, marginal propensity to consume is 90%. Okay. Tax rate, let's suppose, is 20% of total income. Okay. And import level in the economy, let's say, is 22%. We import 22% of total income. It makes this much. Okay. Good. If you make all of those calculations in here, okay, you will get it's equal to 2. All right, 2. Which means that that change in, let's say, government spending, that multiplier effect is going to be only twice larger. Okay? Twice larger. So therefore, when economies they experience recession, first of all, they consider what? Fiscal policy, right? they increase their consumption, government expenditure. Okay? And we have the cases, in order to increase that multiplier effect, they don't only increase government spending, but at the same time they try to decrease tax. Okay? Decrease tax. Decrease tax. And at the same time, with the help of monetary policy, they try to appreciate the currency, which is going to reduce import. Marginal propensity to import is going to be lower. So both fiscal and monetary policy is in work, okay, to make our multiplier effect greater. If our consumption is greater, it's good thing. If tax rate is greater, it's not good. And high amount that marginal propensity to import is high, it's also negative, okay? Which is going to reduce that effect of multiplier. All right. For example, now this is the actual case, right? But now we can see that in this case, now tax rate will increase in the economy. If tax increases in the economy, it's going to make this line flatter. Is something wrong if it becomes flatter? It's very bad thing. Look, if it's going at this point, if the economy, if government, okay, if government at this point changes the government spending by this much, the income is going to reach this level, right? Because of tax rate now, you know that aggregate expenditure line looks like this, because tax rate is high. Once government also increases by this much, yes, by this much, okay, by that much, now it will be, income will be somewhere here. Low, all right, low. So therefore it's better if it becomes steeper. If tax rate is low, it will be steeper. Which means if it's going to be steeper, then it means that if it's going to be like this, and any increase, it will make it even higher income. Okay? Higher. So this is in the case of lowering the taxes. Okay, good. For example, a real case. You know, I think because you are all economists, all right, you were asking yourself, who am I? Yes? What does really economists do? If I ask this question, I think 80% of you will fail to answer. Okay? Economists' contribution is really great. Okay? Lawyers, they do very good work because economy is in really good shape. All right? Business, they run business in a very nice level because the economy is in its good shape. All right? Which economies usually make it in good shape with those policies implemented in the right way. Okay? Good. What happened in UK? Once Germany declared war on UK, okay, Great Britain, so which means that in order to be engaged in war, government should increase spending on military, right? On military. If that spending is too much, it's going to lead to what? Again, this is business cycle, right? Let's say economy is somewhere here. If that expansionary policy is going too high, then it's going to exceed potential level. If potential level is higher, it will lead to higher prices, inflation. So then there was one dilemma: how to finance the war. You know, John Maynard Keynes, one of the greatest macroeconomists, okay, British economist. So then he gave a very good suggestion. Applying this effect, Okay? Multiplying effect. So I put into the data in 1938. Okay, 1938. The GDP of the economy was equal to 5,520 million pounds. Okay, million pounds. But actual, the potential income was estimated to be potential income. Okay? 6,345 pounds, million pounds, which means that the economy was in this level. Okay? At that time, the economy was growing at this level. It did not reach this level yet. So which means that if economy reaches this level, economy is not going to experience inflation at this point. But if it's going to be higher than this one, then it will lead to inflation. Okay? So now they were planning, economy was somewhere here. In order to finance the war, they have to increase government spending on military. Okay? By how much? Alright? In order to find it, then there must be found what government debt multiplier is. For example, so this difference in here, difference is equal to what? The difference of potential income minus actual the given income, right? Which is, if you subtract this one from this one, is going to give change in output, which is 825 million pounds. Yes? So we know that it is. It should, if we are going to increase our output by this much, then there will be no inflation. And the economy will reach its natural level, good level. Good. And now there is some data given in here. The output is given. Consumption is equal to 4,380. And we have tax given, which is 770 billion pounds. Okay? And now, let interest be controlled and low during the war. Low. The government at that time, because war, it's war, it will definitely affect their negative on trade. It may stop. We are assuming that it was 0. Okay, good. And we already derived the multiplier effect, which is, our y is equal to 1 over 1 minus marginal propensity to consume y minus tax, yes, plus marginal propensity to import, investment plus government spending plus net, plus export. Yes? Export. This one now we are considering to be 0. So multiplier is now this one. Okay? So now government is planning to increase this one in order to reach our output to become at this level, at potential level. Okay? So now, if we formulate it, in order to find this one first, they have to find what marginal propensity to consume is, right? Where consumption is given, where income is given. In order to find marginal propensity to consume, we have to divide consumption to output. Yes? Which is equal to 4380 over 5520, which is equal to, if you do calculation, 0.79. Yes? Marginal propensity to consume, 79%. So if you find the tax rate, which is tax over income, which is equal to 770 over 5520, which is equal to, I see, 0.40, right? So now, if you plug it, where change we are going to expect, it must be 825. 825 equal 1 over 1 minus 0.79, okay? 1 minus tax rate is 0.14 times change in government spending. How did we get it? In our change, we took first difference with respect to time, yes? Yeah. So now it will give us how much government should increase its spending. Okay, if you calculate it, I think it's equal to somehow 3.1. Okay. If you divide it by 3.1, and it will give you change in government spending should be equal to 266. 66. Okay? 66. So which means that now British government, in order to reach this potential level, should increase government spending by 266 million pounds. If it's going to increase by this much, the economy is not going to experience inflation. Alright? Even that time, research. Okay? And that way it was reducing over spending and or less spending. That's very optimal. Good. Lifetime pattern of income and consumption. Okay. Time, lifetime. Okay. And let's consider income. With growing age, right? So our income tend to increase, right? Up to some point. Then once people they are going to become less economically active, then income is going to go down, right? Okay. What about consumption? On average, people consume that much. Consumption level. Alright? Consumption level. And why at this age, even though the income is less, but consumption is this much? Let's say at the age of 18, right? Or 19 or 20. So where it means that they are consuming this much, but this much is considered as some loan. Why? People, they get loans because they expect with, growing age, they will be having higher income, and banks, they are offering them, those loans for education, whatever. Okay? They expect that they will be earning more, and they will pay it back. So this is going to be that consumption loan. All right. Why it's going to reduce? Because of older ages, it's a retirement age and whatever. Okay, good. So now we are considering, transitory income rise and permanent income rise cases. Let's suppose. First of all, let's suppose one individual, okay, and he inherited $1 million. What do you think? If you have $1 million, is it enough for you until you die if you don't work?
No.
1 million.
It's not.
Isn't it enough?
Can we spend in one day?
No, if it's, let's say, you are a rationally thinking economist person, okay? It's very enough, right? But how people, rationally think and allocate that income? If the condition is, now I'm inheriting you, let's suppose $1 million, but afterwards you are not going to work. Alright? Then this person is going to do what? Research. He will say, my great-great-grandfather, he lived 85 years. My great-grandfather, he lived 75. My grandfather lived 80. My father died at the age of 82. Then on average it means that I'm going to live 80 years. Okay? So 80 years. If that person is at the age of 20, so 80 minus 20 is 60, right? And he's going to divide this 1 million to 60. And that's going to be average spending of a person, consumption. That person is going to follow on that level, whatever it is, okay? If it's 100 something $1,000 a year consumption. And then this is going to be allocated for all year. Okay? They expect like this. But what about one-time increase in income? Let's suppose one individual with this kind of income, okay, somehow at this point received bonus, high bonus. And how does it mean that income at that at this point, income at this point, it was like this. Right? Income increased by this much. And it again from the next following months decrease. This one-time increase, okay, effects on people's consumption for the rest of their lives. And it's sometimes done intentionally, in order to people's, change their consumption behavior. How? For example, when it happens, bonus, you have a lot of cash in one day in your pocket, okay? What you do, because you are very happy, now I got this much, millions of sums, you call your wife, your children, let's go and enjoy and have, let's this time go to one very nice foreign restaurant, okay? At this moment. Before they were not at all. Once the person goes to that restaurant, person likes that restaurant, which means that it increases that willingness of that person to go there in the future again. Once it experiences that taste, then it means that that person is going to go there once a year or twice a year like this. Which means that now if he's consuming more, or let's say at this point, those households who were consuming butter, jam, bread, whipping cream for their breakfast, they will allow just one time to have sausages for breakfast. Okay? Sausages. Once having seen the taste of the sausages one time, children will be demanding. Which means that for the rest of their life they will be buying sausages again. Which means just after this point, this consumption line will be a little more because of that effect, okay? One-time effect. If consumption is higher than normal, it increases output. But if the high income increase is permanent, then of course, consumption will increase permanently, okay? The person who was driving Lacetti will not anymore drive it, but they will move to some other more luxurious brands, okay? This is the case, which tells us consumption depends on income, our income. Plus, it depends on expected income. If individual expects high income in the future, it will accordingly increase. Okay? Increase. For example, you are the students of this university, right? There is a very high likelihood you will get a good job, right? So which means that now you are consuming, maybe you will be getting some loans or whatever you believe. Okay? You're expected, you will be consuming more than normal because you believe that you are going to earn more. Or before you go into work and travel, you may be consuming more because you expect you will be earning more in the US. Okay? Maybe even though it's always you're borrowing that money, there's no problem after 3 months I'll pay you back. This it affects really. Alright. And what about investment? Because there is always interest rate, right? We are not considering because there are that conventional and we have, that in Islamic banking as well, right? Where in that system there is no interest rate thing, okay? You ignore that case, okay? Now we are considering that our conventional banking system. So here, if the interest rate level is up to in this level, where there are hundreds or thousands or millions of investment projects in each economy, okay? And from each economy there is expected return. So those investors, they are going to invest on certain project if they expect that this return, cost of capital is going to be higher than, so if the return is going to be higher than cost of capital, right? This is one case. Normally it is done, but it's not only interest rate which determines. If interest rate is high, investment will be low, right? Because it will be more costly. It's one effect. But investing, it also depends on income as well, expected. If let's suppose investor in the time of recession, okay, in the time of recession, government, making monetary policy, that expansionary policy, right? But people are still thinking that the expected income is not going to be very high, as it tells. Which means that they expect the return is going to be lower. If the expectation is negative, then investment will be less. If expectation is positive, that there will be boom in the economy, then investment projects will rise. Okay? So which means that investment itself depends on expected income and interest rate. So now let's consider about the demand for money. Why do we need money? First of all, because of these transactions, right? We go to the restaurant or we pay for our, those transportation, whatever. That money we always use, and people try to, save some money for precautionary purposes, right? So, because we all humans, which means there is a likelihood of becoming sick, which means that there must be some cash available to go to the doctor. Yes? One. Or you may expect some guests whom you have to take to the restaurant and other. So these kind of things, so for that purpose we keep. And there is another one, speculative demand for money. It is in the case of crisis, where people do not trust anymore to the banking system, where they expect it's going to be it may default, okay? So therefore they keep money as cash. So look, let's consider cash holding. Alright, cash holding. Within a month. Cash holding, months. Let's suppose we are, once that income we was get it, the marginal propensity to consume is equal to 1. We consume everything. We receive income at the beginning of the month, and we are going to consume it within 1 month. Yes? Within 1 month. Slowly, because they're consuming like this. And in this case, the marginal propensity, the average income, that cash holding is what? Is going to be, if it's going to be 10, it will be 5, average. Yes, on average, we hold this much cash. Okay, good. But what if we consider about interest rate, where interest rate is high enough? If interest rate is high, people start about keeping more money in their saving accounts, right? Which is going to generate additional income. So therefore, if interest rate is high, demand for money reduces. Because they would like to keep it as much as possible in their saving account. Rather than getting all of that cash, they will be withdrawing that money step by step, in order to keep it as much in their savings account. and what about demand for money? The function itself. Let me write down because you will use it over and over again. So demand for money depends on income and interest rate. Yes? It depends on income and interest rate. So as we already discussed, if it has negative correlation with interest rate, high interest rate, less demand. What about higher income? More demand. Yes? More demand. So, because if you have high income, your spending will be accordingly more. So, which is going to shift that curve? Interest rate plotted labor demand, which has the negative slope. Yes, which has negative slope. And that income in the function, which is going to determine as if income is going to increase, it will shift our labor demand curve to the right. If it's less, it will shift it to the left. Yes? And what about our money supply? We have monopolists in the economy, central bank, right? It is central bank how decides how much to supply money in the economy. So therefore, it is vertical. And any movement of this vertical line depends on central banks, whether increasing or decreasing money supply. Okay? Sure.
Okay, great. Can we take a break?
I think it's your first time attending the lecture. Yes. You can take a break by yourself, but the others no, right? Because I'm in the condition. So, money supply and now demand and supply. So what is important for us is this equilibrium point, right? With given money supply, what is going to be the demand in the economy? So if money supply exceeds demand, right? Exceeds demand in some point in here, then people will be holding, they would like to keep, they want their money in their more supply, which is going to drive down the interest rate. Yes. If money supply if money demand, exceeds supply, then it will drive up interest rate. Okay. So let me write down in here ln curve function. So we should already know that the equilibrium point, it gives us that ln curve, right? Oh, ln curve, all dots in this curve represent equilibrium point in the economy based on given the demand for money and supply of money. Okay. So given demand for money and plus money supply, which is constant. Yes, it is. Central bank who decides it, right? So that equilibrium point, right? The equilibrium point, where that, in order to find the equilibrium point, we have to make it equal, right? Money supply is equal to money demand. So where supply of money is equal to demand for money. So, in other words, we can find easily our ln curve, where it represents the equilibrium point. So our A interest rate is equal to y minus mn. And our interest rate is equal to k over h times y minus 1 over A times M. This way. So we can derive it this way. Good. And those shifts in LM curve, you know, it usually happens because of increase in money supply, right? If money supply increases, then our LM curve shifts to the right. If decreases, it will shift to the left. What about if government is strongly targeting the interest rate? Targeting the interest rate. You know, they want to keep interest rate constant, not change. But income increase. Yes? Income increase. If income increases, then it means that there is higher demand for money. Yes? If there is higher demand for money, then it should, you know, the interest rate should increase, right? To this point. It should increase. But now government wants to keep it, hold it constant. So then, if it happens, then what will happen should be increased, okay? It gives us this element. So now, it is our LM curve. Let me write down because I will write a lot in here. So, the one consumption depends on income and expected income. It is considered an extended consumption function, okay? But consumption equal to marginal propensity to consume or total income, it is simple function. Now we are considering simple function of consumption and investment. Simple function where it's autonomous investment minus interest rate. Now we are considering our output, Our consumption is equal to marginal propensity to consume times income, and our investment is equal to autonomous investment minus interest rate. What about expert? Expert. It depends on world income, which means that our export level is going to increase if world countries become richer. If the neighboring countries are going to be richer, which means they will be buying more from us, right? Plus, real exchange rate. It is expressed in foreign exchange rate market, okay? Which means higher the real exchange rate, it indicates depreciation of currency. If currency depreciates, local currency depreciates, export will increase, okay?
So it is a good thing that our exchange rate is low, so we're able to make a lot of exports.
Yes, if it's naturally done, then it's good because we will be exporting more. If it's very good, if you have a lot of export things to make, okay? What about import? Which also depends on income, right? If we are richer, we will be consuming more foreign goods. It will increase. And if our real exchange rate depreciates, it means that now our currency is weak, so we are now not able to buy foreign goods because foreign goods are more expensive for us. Okay? This is the relationship. So now again consider our output function, which is equal to consumption consumption plus investment plus government expenditure plus export plus import. Oh, sorry, minus import. Minus import. So now I'm going to plug all of these factors in here. Our output is equal to marginal propensity to consume times income plus autonomous investment minus interest rate plus government spending plus X1, that world income, plus X2, real exchange rate, minus marginal propensity to import out of our income, plus and 2 real exchange rate. So I'm going to take these y's on the interest rate on the left side, okay, which is going to give us the I is equal to minus 1, all right? Minus 1, and this one is going to be plus. It will be minus consumption, and we have this output in here, which is going to give us plus F1 times y, yes? It will give us y. We have now 3 y's in this equation. It is going to be equal to this one minus. Good. And now we have X2 plus M2 real exchange rate plus autonomous investment plus government expenditure plus X1 times world output. Right? So now if I divide both sides by B, then it will give me what our IS curve is. Yes? Because it's minor. Good one. If I divide both sides by B, then it will give us I is equal to divided by B, divided by B, divided by B. And it has this minus sign. Right? Which gives us IS curve, which is negatively related with out. Yes? And these factors define how our IS curve is going to shift. If government spending is going to decrease, then IS curve will shift down. If currency is going to appreciate, it will shift down. Okay? If world gown is going down, it's going to shift down. And all other, vice versa, is going to shift it up. So this is LM curve, and this one is IS curve. Yes? Yes. Okay. And we have seen that that money market and goods market, they are in equilibrium point, right? Where LM curve and IS curve, so IS curve and LM curve in equilibrium point at this point. Right? It is in equilibrium point in this level of interest rate and out. So using these equations, we can derive what our output in equilibrium point is, and interest rate in equilibrium is equal to. So if, let's suppose that the point is somewhere here, economy is somewhere here, which means that at this point, interest rate is high, right? Interest rate is high, income is high. So then And it will drive down that interest rate because of that high demand for money, the equilibrium point. If at this point, and companies in the firms are producing more than it's demanded, again, it will drive down as we all descend to this equilibrium point. So this equilibrium point is important to find. So where we can find it, because in this point, IS curve and LN curve is equal. So you can write it down, K over H Y minus 1 over H, and that is equal to, so what? I can write it down. Minus 1 minus consumption plus M1 over B times Y plus X2 plus M2 over B times R plus autonomous investment plus government expenditure plus X1 Y equal output OB, yes? So now, if I take this Y on this side and take minus Y on this side, then it's going to give us, and I am going to multiply both sides by BH, and it's going to give me BK times Y plus 1 minus C plus M1 times H times Y, yes? Equal B minus apply, because it has H in the denominator, plus X2 plus M2 times H times real exchange rate, plus autonomous investment plus government spending plus X1Y world output times H, yes? And from there, if you take this Y out and divide both sides by this factor that multiply, which is going to be BK plus 1 minus C plus M times H, Y equal to this factor, yes? So if you divide both sides by this one, then it will give us that output in equilibrium point, okay, equilibrium. 1 over BK plus 1 minus C plus M1 times H times B M hat plus X2 plus M2 H times R plus autonomous investment plus government spending plus X1 output of the world H. So this is equilibrium point. It is equal to this one. Okay, it's equal to this one. And if you would like to find interest rate and equilibrium point, okay, you can easily find it using this equation. Or you can use this one, but you know it's going to be a bit complex because it will make those factors too large. Use this one, okay, where interest rate, and here let me make it like this. Now let me consider this point, okay, as A, and this one as beta, where this factor multiply this one and beta multiplied by this one. Alright? So now I write it in here. Interest rate is equal to K over H times Y is equal to that one. So now I can write it as 1 over BK plus 1 minus C plus M1 times H times B M hat, right? Because I plug in here. And now KH plus KH times beta A. This one. I'm not repeating right this. Okay? Minus 1 over H and this time.
K over K or something? K over K.
Oh, sorry, it's H. 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 So now, if you are going to simplify this equation, it will give us what our interest rate in equilibrium point is, okay? So you can do it by yourself. The remaining is no problem. So you can do it by yourself. Alright, this is it. I answer. What about in the case of monetary policy? In order to increase output, which you already know that the central bank is going to supply more money, right? Supply more money. So then the interest rate will go down, so output will increase. In the case of fiscal policy, because of this multiplier effect, okay? Once government spending is increased by this much, and multiplier effect is going to, the economy is going to reach this much output, right? And in the case of ISCOP, it's somewhere here, where when output is high, there is higher demand for money, which is going to drive up interest rate, okay? And actually, the economy will end up being in here. Okay? So this one is when we consider global economy, which we are going to derive in our seminar, okay? We will derive it. So how was, in practice, these, changes in government spending or fiscal and monetary policy. For example, during the time of Kennedy, expanding the national income by reducing personal and corporate taxes. So which means that he tried to reduce that T, okay? T in that multiplier in order to reach higher level of income, which really grows, was higher, okay? And unemployment rate was lower because of that policy. When Bush was the president of the United States, he was also implementing that, reducing taxes in income taxes, okay? Again, to make it, a bit steeper, all right? The GDP growth was this much, and unemployment was reduced. What about in the time of Obama? When he became the president, the economy was in a very, very, bottom line, yes? Recession, great recession coming, right? Crisis. Then he implemented both government purchases and reducing taxes in order to make that multiplier that we already talked about to effect, okay? And it really worked. So you can read it from Gardner.